let me clean my screen. And wait a few minutes to see if anybody jumps in. If anybody jumps in, um, yeah, it's gonna go live real quick. Um, yeah, this is kind of what we expected, right? Maybe had some high hopes, but this is exactly what we expected. Um, a loss to Rutgers, 31-24. And just want to do just a quick reaction video. Nothing that's going to be too long, but I think we're all kind of seeing the same things. That's been the issue all year long. Bad play calling, no adjustments, no scheme adjustments, um, bad clock management. We left the fourth quarter with two timeouts. We left the first half, I believe, with the timeout um, that we could have used to get ourselves in a better position. Um, we seen, the first quarter didn't look like, the team had their bearings. A lot of missed tackles on defense. Offense couldn't do anything. I think they had like a total of 6 total yards on offense in the first quarter. Second quarter, you see them starting to open up. Okay, looks like Ja'Cory Brown is getting his legs under him, starting to see the field a little bit, making some throws, making some plays. Third quarter, kind of the same thing, but it seems like they start to dial back the playbook. Now it starts going back into the vanilla, into the predictable playbook. And then the fourth quarter, I mean, they have almost an 8 minute drive. We can't move the ball, and that's the ball game. Um, I guess a lot of us was hopeful to see something different in this game. Maybe to see, them. It's the last game of the season. See what Ja'Cory Brown can do. Really open up the playbook. Um, no use of the tight ends. No running back screens. No tight end screens. I think we had a couple of wide receiver screens that didn't go for much yardage. One thing I can say is that our receivers did help Ja'Cory Brown out. They made a lot of, they caught the ball with their hands. They went up and got the ball. Restrepo made a lot of good hand catches. Isaiah Horton made a lot of good catches. Um, Jacoby George. So it wasn't like a lot of drop balls. They were helping Ja'Cory Brown out. Um, but I think at the end of the day, we wanted to see what team was going to show up. Was it going to be a motivated team, or was it going to be a team that looks like they were just not prepared? And at the end of the day, it looks like Rutgers was the better coach team. Their line play, defensive line and offensive line play was better than ours. They continued to convert third and twos, fourth and ones, continuously. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They controlled the clock. Um, and every time they needed to make a play to keep a drive going, they made it. Now they hurt themselves with a lot of penalties. And the score could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for the penalties. But outside of that, I mean, they controlled the line of scrimmage. Their running back just kept getting, every time he got hit, he breaks a tackle, he breaks 3, 4 tackles, and he's continually moving forward. I think he ended up averaging something like 7 to 8 yards a carry. He's leading rusher in the Big Ten, so that wasn't, as surprising as the fact that our defensive line didn't establish themselves. Our linebackers didn't establish themselves. You got Corey Couch and Jalen Davis playing safety because they have to move over to replace Cam Kitchens and James Williams, who decides to opt out of this game. I don't know why. Um, and you're just forcing them to make a lot of tackles. It's not their natural position. It's not naturally where they want to play at. But at the end of the day, I guess we were looking to see after kind of the momentum of getting the number three recruiting class that we were going to have some momentum going into this game. Um, and it just seems like the same old. And we can't make any excuses for it anymore. It's continually bad play calling, non adjustments in the game, and bad clock management. It's the same old. Um, Jacoby George, he's a little bit of a loose cannon. Um, he doesn't, I don't know what it is about him. He kind of gets in the game and I don't know. Maybe he doesn't get enough targets, and he kind of just gets out of control. I don't know what it is with him. I mean, I really love him as a receiver. I really feel like he's like the perfect number two receiver. He's kind of your shifty hand, getting to those um a lot of those one-on-ones on the outside, and he can win, but he does make a lot of boneheaded plays. Like he just likes to fight, but he just does it at the most inopportune times. Um, but he does come through in the clutch when you need, catches, and he's a pretty good blocker. But besides all that, man, like same old Mario, same old Mario, same. Once it looks like the offense is starting to get going, something happens. It gets dialed back. They start going vanilla. When you need a fourth and one, third and two, third and four, third and five, everybody in the stadium knows it's going to be a run play up the middle. Daddy, what are you doing? You know what's happening. I mean, and I agree with that. You could look at Shannon Dawson. You can look at what's going on with him, but is Shannon Dawson, does he have the free range to make the calls? If he doesn't have the free range to make the calls, then it's not really on him. It's ultimately you should give your offensive coordinator the free range to make the calls, right? If he's going to run the offense, you got to allow him to run the offense. What it looks like is it looks like Mario wants to be Greg Schiano. He wants to run the ball. And then when he can't run, now you have, play action or whatever. He wants to be that. So it's just like, do you want to be air raid or do you want to be Big Ten pound of football? You got to have an identity. When you don't have an identity, it's just like, what do the players, is any of this playing to the players' strengths? You got 4 or 5 tight ends. None of them I'm just like, are they just extra blockers? You don't see them in the route tree. You don't see them doing anything. If they get the ball, it's like by accident. So it's like, why do you keep recruiting tight ends? If the air raid makes little use of tight ends, why are you recruiting them? Why do you even have them? It doesn't make any sense to me. Um, but I can't say that I didn't expect this to happen. I can't say that I was expecting something different. I did want to see the team show up with a little bit more aggression, a little bit more passion. I was kind of surprised that the amount of missed tackles on defense. Their running back, I mean, he was just running through tackles left and right, and that was kind of surprising. Our defensive line, I don't know if they got many Harrys or if they got any sacks. I got to go back and look at the stats, but it doesn't seem like they, established themselves at all. And our defensive line had been our strong suit. Um, I mean, but you got to throw them balls consistently. Even if you're throwing a tight end, a couple of passes, like you got to get them in the game. You got to get them like into the flow of the offense. You just can't throw them one here and there. You got to establish them as a part of the offense. Once you establish them as a part of the offense, then it's just like, all right, now you can see they're in the flow. Getting the ball, catching the ball feels natural. You've been blocking all game, and you get a random ball thrown at you. I mean, you're just not in the rhythm of the game. And I'm just like, if you're going to establish the tight end, you've seen Louisville do that against us. Louisville hadn't been using their tight ends all year. And when they played us, it's just like their tight ends. They put the tight ends, and now they had a game plan for tight ends. But I don't want to be too long winded. We're gonna make another video, really analyzing the game. But just wanted to make a quick reaction to say, I think everybody's starting to see this is more of the same. Are you going to support Mario through continue into next year into this rebuild, or do we need to start putting the pressure on him? Because the team did not show up the way that we thought they were going to show up. We thought they were going to show up and, put up a better fight, and they didn't, which was, kind of disappointing, But so I'm gonna jump off of here. We'll have a breakdown of the game, kind of more of where a lot of the frustration come from with Mario. I mean, they took 2 timeouts. I guess into next year. I don't know what we're gonna do with 2 timeouts that we could have used. Um, those timeouts could have, saved us time, give us more of an opportunity, put us more in position. But once again, you know, yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. 80 mil, 10 years, top recruiting classes, and this is what we get. This is what we get. I mean, they had an 8-minute drive in the fourth quarter that basically sealed the deal. I think they ran almost exclusively in the fourth quarter. They might have thrown the ball once or twice, and our defensive line was supposed to be our strong suit. Couldn't get any stops. Our linebackers continued to miss tackles. They had giant holes the whole entire game. Yeah, and you know what? These recruiting classes, if you can't coach up the recruits. Recruiting class doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean nothing. You got to be able to coach up these players. I mean, even the announcers were, kind of raving over the recruiting classes we got. But they said the same thing. The talent isn't equaling the results on the field that we're expecting. And if you can't turn over that talent into wins and you can't coach up them players, now them players are gonna hit the portal. They're not gonna stay around for this BS. They're not gonna stay around while you continually be put in bad positions to lose against teams that are lesser tier. I mean, that's just is what it is. Rutgers is a 6-6 team. They're a good. I would say they're solidly coached. I like Greg Schiano. I think Greg Schiano would do great in Miami. I think he's a no nonsense. And you've seen the difference between Greg Schiano and Mario. Once he had something that made sense and was working, he continued to go to it. The run was working. Miami could not stop it. Ball control, using the timeouts. The only thing I would say was they had a lot of penalties, personal fouls, face masks, roughing the passer, was kind of messed them up. But outside of that, very well coached game. They went to their strong suit, which is their run game. Hold on 1 second. Close the door. These guys, they went to their strong suit, which is the run game. All right. They're pounding the ball. They're controlling the clock. Every 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 4th and 1, they convert. Every single one. Miami has a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. And because everybody knows what's coming, they don't do anything that's outside of their tendency. When you see Ja'Cory Brown back there with Parrish, you already know it's really going to be uh, halfback power. That's all we see. They're going to hand it off. They're going to turn around, 1 step, hand it off to the running back and try to go up the gut. Everybody knows it's coming. This is what we've been doing all year. So you don't do nothing that's against your tendencies. You don't fake it. You don't throw a pop pass to a tight end. You don't do a wide receiver screen. It's just all stuff that we see at home. We've been seeing it all year. So I don't know what we're expecting now. I just say, you had a team that was well coached and was prepared, and you had a team that wasn't prepared and didn't make adjustments throughout the game. And when stuff started working, when you see Ja'Cory Brown getting loose, he doesn't, it's just like they go away from continually to get him into a rhythm. He took one shot downfield to Jacoby George. I think it was the first play of the game. And I said, oh, here we go. They don't convert the pass, but I'm like, at least you're taking the shot. Take the shot. They don't convert that pass. I don't think they throw any more downfield shots. I know the touchdown he threw to Restrepo, the second touchdown, well, the touchdown that was counted a touchdown. That was a deep pass, but it wasn't like a downfield shot. I think it was 20 something yards. Um, which I will say, I got to give it to Ja'Cory Brown. He kind of looked. I mean, if they would have let him go a little bit more, he looked kind of good. I gotta give it to him. Within the confines of how they ran the offense, he didn't look that bad. He was making some of the throws. He was escaping the pocket. He made a couple mistakes. The one pick that he threw, a linebacker dropped in the coverage, and I think that was just actually a good defensive play. A lot of quarterbacks make that mistake. When you get a linebacker, or I think it was a defensive end who dropped in the coverage. You just didn't see him. All right. So you get more game reps, you start becoming familiar with those type of looks. But I think overall he played pretty well. I was actually kind of impressed with some of the balls he was throwing. Was like, he was getting some zip on it. He was pretty accurate. I wanted him to escape the pocket a little bit more. But for what he was doing, not mad at him. Not mad. I actually I'm not worried about the quarterback position so much because it's more about how the offensive plays are being called, right? You could be the most talented quarterback in the world, and if the offense isn't tailored to you, then it doesn't. So I know we talking about Will Howard and Cam Ward and DJ Uyunglele and whatever else quarterback we think we can get in the portal. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters if the offensive play calling isn't going to be tailored to you and what's your strong suits. And if your strong suits, perfect example, Jalen Milrow, he's not really your best like short intermediate passer. He's really good at the deep ball. So they cater to him throwing the deep ball. So I wanted to see a lot more of what Ja'Cory Brown could do. He looked like he could throw a good deep ball. They didn't throw anything in the middle, like nothing. Everything was more sideline. So he threw the nice back shoulder to Restrepo. I thought it was a touchdown. It was a little iffy, so them not calling it a touchdown, I wasn't so mad because it was borderline. But that was a pretty nice throw. That's a pretty good throw. So um, you said Ja'Cory Brown played the way he's supposed to play his first game with failure coach. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, what do you want him to do? To outplay the coaching? I mean, that I agree 100%. Like he did what he was supposed to do. Um, but man, I'm gonna jump off of here. Appreciate y'all coming in. I'm gonna jump in later and we're gonna get into it a little more. But it's your dog from the play of the map, and I'm out.